Hello, this is Sarah back again with another video on the H2B visa. In this video I'm going to explain a breakdown of the money, what you have to pay for the visa and how much to expect to earn throughout the season. With the H2B visa, unlike other visas, you don't have to pay to join this program. Actually, you get paid to fly over to the States. How does this work? So let's use Florida as an example, as that is the first place that you will be starting on your H2B visa. So imagine for the winter time in Florida, the weather is generally cooler, although it is still hot in comparison to other places in the world. It is a beautiful summer winter basically. It is sunny almost every day. However, in the summer in Florida, it gets extremely hot, like way up there into the 90s, sometimes even 100s, and it is very humid in the air. Also, it is hurricane season in the summer, therefore Florida is not so popular in the summer for people to come and visit, but it is very popular in the winter. Many people from places like New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan, etc. Love to come to Florida for the winter time because it is a great place to golf and it is a great lifestyle for the winter. The busy season in Florida is actually the winter season, which starts in October and ends in May. Employer cannot just directly hire us. First, they must try and employ American staff, and if they fail to hire willing and able American staff workers and cannot find any workers here to work for them and prove that they will negatively be impacted if they do not find staff, then they can hire us international staff, aliens, foreigners, whatever you want to call us, from our countries on the H2B visa to work for them for the season. Because it is the employer who actually needs us, they have to actually pay for our flights. So they pay for our flights from our home country to provide us with housing and transport to and from work, as most of us coming here will not have a car, or sometimes we may not have even driven before like me. What do you have to pay for? So first off, the visa appointment at the embassy is going to be around $200 and you will have to pay for initially, but once you do go over to your employer will actually refund you this money, so you only have to pay for it up front and you do get that money back. What you have to pay for is your accommodation. If you choose to take accommodation outside of work, then that will be up to you to pay for it and to provide your transport to and from work. However, if you do take the accommodation that work provides for you, usually they find apartments between a couple of minutes to maybe 30 minutes away from work, and they will provide a shuttle van that will take you from your apartments to work. However, they will deduct a couple of hundred from each paycheck, usually for your accommodation. So you do not have to worry about paying accommodation up front, but just do expect to see some money come out of your paycheck for that. Next thing you will have to pay for is, I would recommend coming to America with at least $1,000. I know some people who did come with more and some people who did come with less, but what I'd recommend is to bring enough money to get you through the first 2 weeks to 1 month, because you may have to work back 2 weeks, so you may have to work 2 weeks before you even see a paycheck, and your first paycheck may be pretty low because you may have only worked a couple of days in that work week, so you may be waiting up to a month to see a full paycheck for 2 weeks. Mostly the payments are bi-weekly, so you will receive your money every 2 weeks from work. When you first come over here, you will be meeting many other people from your country or from other countries on this program. You will want to have fun, you will want to meet up, you will want to maybe go for drinks or go for dinner or explore the area, so I would recommend, it is very nice to have a bit of money to start off. Also, you may want to furnish your apartment. Usually your apartment will come with the basic essentials such as like a bed, maybe a bedside locker, and maybe a couch or a table. So if you do want to add like some mirrors or some carpets or some bedding, if you want to upgrade the bedding that they give you, etc., and buy some groceries, I would recommend to have money for all that. So I would say $1,000 I would recommend. If you have more, great. If you have less, that's okay, but just expect to be a little bit more cautious with your money until you get your paycheck. How much do you get paid at work? So this does vary obviously from job to job, as there's many different clubs that you can apply for here in Florida. The lowest paying job that I have personally worked or have seen is $12 per hour, and the highest paying job that I have received was $30 per hour. However, the $30 is very rare. With the $12 per hour, it is more popular, especially for your first season, to be paid between $12, $14, in some rare cases maybe even $16. Usually the clubs are non-tipping clubs, so if you do work as a server, expect most likely not to get tips. In some rare cases you will, but expect not to get them. And then working in housekeeping or as a cook in the other areas, expect around the same payments, between 12 or 14 for your first season, sometimes higher. In not many cases I've seen lower than 12, to be honest. Where I was averaging on $18 an hour was when I was working in Arizona, and that was because I was getting tips. I believe I was on $9 an hour, maybe less, but with tips it came up to about 18. However, it is pretty rare to get tips in clubs, as most of them are not. $30 an hour was when I was working as a personal trainer, so the clients were paying the gym at the club $75 an hour to work with me, and they were giving me $30. This was just a couple of clients a day, so actually outweighing working as a server and working as a trainer, getting $30 an hour compared to even getting $14 an hour. I usually actually make more money serving, because usually you will have to work longer hours, and in some cases in my experience in most clubs I've worked between 35 and 40 hours per week, and sometimes getting overtime, usually if there's events on, or if it's a busy season, or if people call sick. But it's not something clubs will give you all of the time. In some cases, in some clubs, yes, but overall, in the 6 clubs I've worked in, they usually don't like to give a lot of overtime. It would be cheaper for them just to hire more staff. So now for an average paycheck, let's say that you are between the 12 and 14 range. Multiply that number by about 40 hours per week, and then minus about 200 for taxes, and minus about 200, possibly 250 for your accommodation, and then that will be your final. Some weeks you may get overtime, and overtime is time and a half. So if you are getting $14 an hour, half of that is 7, add that together, and that is $21 per hour. So if you work an extra 10 hours overtime over your 2-week periods, you could multiply the 21 by 10 and add that on as well. So in my experience, the lowest paycheck that I have received was about $350 for 2 weeks after rent, and the highest I got was about $1,000, maybe $300 for the 2 weeks after rent and tax. So I mean, it's okay. For some people that may seem great, for some people it might seem not so great, depending on where you're from or what you've done before this, or what you're used to being paid, if it's your first job or not. This paycheck is livable, because it is up to you what your expenses are, as your expenses all come out of your paycheck before you get the money. So the money that you do receive, it's up to you to do what you want with it. You may have to pay for a phone bill or some other basic essentials, such as a few basic groceries, but after that you do get fed at work, you do get your transport to work, so most of that money is fun money or saving money for you. However, the cost of living in America is probably a lot more expensive compared to a lot of other countries. In my experience, I found some things are cheaper, like alcohol is way cheaper here to buy in stores, etc. But I find groceries are more expensive. Maybe that's because I'm used to shopping in like Aldi or Tesco, which are like stores back home in Ireland. But the comparison over here, like Walmart, Target, or any of the small markets that you go to, usually in my experience have been a lot more expensive for my weekly groceries. However, you can still be smart with your money, and you can just budget out how much you do want to spend for a week or 2 weeks. But what I would say is it is easier sometimes to overspend your budget here if you don't have a plan thinking of how much that you want to spend, because there's a lot of things you can spend your money on here. I mean, Amazon's amazing. Your stuff comes within hours or a day, so it's super easy to order things online. Restaurants, I would say, are similar price to Ireland, maybe a bit more expensive than many other countries and stuff like that. And then it's up to you what else you want to spend your money on. Flights here from state to state are a lot more expensive than they are around Europe. The minimum flight I think I've got here was $100, and that's during this whole thing. and the most expensive flights that I've paid for, I believe, was possibly $700 from one state to another. So flights and stuff like that can be more expensive. Just taking you on a jumble jamble here. I hope that you got some information in this about the money side of things, how much to expect to earn, maybe to get you to think about saving up a little bit of money before you come here, and then to already have a plan in mind of how much you want to spend or how much you want to save bi-weekly when you get your paycheck when you're here, whether you want to be here for an experience and use your money to, on your days off, visit and see new places, if you want to use your money to keep and save, or if you want to use your money for just really nice groceries and decorating your house, whatever you want to do with it, it's up to you. So adiosa, ciao for now, see you in the next video.